What's going on, people, places, and things? This is your YouTube channel, Poke Arena, bringing you some more Pokemon Trading Card Game Online content. Today we're going to be playing a Welder deck, and this Welder deck is going to revolve around Arcanine and Ninetales. The really main Arcanine we're going to be playing today is this one from Rebel Flash, and it has the ability Warming Up. If this Pokemon has a Burning Scarf attached, it gets plus 100 HP, and having 230 HP for a 1-prizer is insane. Sure, the damage output isn't as much, but we do run this Arcanine as well for the 109 damage for 4 fire energy that can really clean up hits, and being able to do 320 damage to a Pokemon combined with these two Arcanines is really gonna knock out big VMAXs like Inteleon V, like Dragapult, and others, even Rillabooms with the weakness. The reason we're playing two different Ninetales is because this one, for just 1 fire energy, does 120 attack. If our opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, it does 90 more. And the reason we're going to be getting special conditions on our Pokemon is from the tool's Burning Scarf, because if this fire Pokemon, or if the fire Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an opponent's attack, the attacking Pokemon is now burned. Other cards we play in the deck to search out our fire energy is Giant Hearth. Discard a card and put 2 fire energy cards into our hand. We play 3 Jirachis to really search out some energy, and we do play Scoop Up Nets to retreat them. We do have the 1 Ditto, so we can evolve into an Arcanine or Ninetales, and we do play this Ninetales to kind of gust our opponent's Pokemon up. We do play 2 Bosses Order in that though, because sometimes we don't want to be discarding our fire energy because we have such high attack costs. And then we do play the 1 Heat Factory so we can draw into more cards with that. And we also do play the Ordinary Rod so that we can shuffle back some energy and some Pokemon back into the deck. We play 1 Pal Pad and 2 Pokemon Communication so we can communicate our Pokemon out so we can have that consistency. We do play 2 Marnies as well, and then we do play that 1 Heatran GX because if we can't knock out something with our small attacks like on the Arcanine with the Burning Scarf ability, we can have that 1 GX move in the back to deal some big damage, like having 7 fire energy on this Heatran dealing 350 will knock out any Pokemon in the format. So I don't expect to get a lot of wins with this deck, but it can definitely be a sneaky way to throw off our opponent, and let's just jump into some ladder matches to see how well this deck can perform. So we're on to our first match, and we're actually up against another fire deck, and I assume it's going to be a Blacephalon. And what's really cool about our deck is that if we do get the 230 HP on our Arcanine, we actually do 1-hit KO a Blacephalon, which is really cool. We actually end up getting 2 Vulpixes here, which is not the best, and no supporter. So it's going to be probably a rough get up. But we do have the Jirachi here that we can switch into. So we're going to switch into our Jirachi, and we're going to Stellar Wish here. We're going to grab ourselves the Welder, and hopefully we'll get something in our hand the next turn to do basically a attachment to get something off. Maybe confuse our opponent. But we're going to have to wait and see. And that's the reason we're playing this Vulpix, because it does have the attack Confuse Ray of confusing our opponent's Pokemon. So our opponent does play down 2 Blacephalons and a Jirachi. He's going to switch up into the Jirachi to try to get that, I assume, either Heat Factory or a Welder. So he grabs the Welder. He's going to definitely Fire Crystal and get back that 1 fire energy. And he's going to end up Weldering. And I assume he has to do a Welder for 2, and there it goes, he gets the Welder for 2. And he's looking for that Stadium. He actually fails, which is kind of unfortunate, because I wish he would kind of get that Giant Hearth. But he actually passes with that, so that's honestly good for us. So now we can put the evolve the Ninetales and Welder onto the Ninetales here. And we're going to draw 3 cards with that. We're going to Stellar Wish here, and we actually grab ourselves a Quick Ball, which is nice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to Quick Ball away this Scoop Up Net and put ourselves down a Growlithe. And I'm not going to put the Heatran GX down just yet because I don't want it getting gusted up, because that would just be unfortunate on our part. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens here. This can go either way. Our opponent can kind of run out of energy to attack with our deck being 1-prizers. So I'm really curious to see how this match goes out. So, but our opponent's just going to grab the Quick Ball and he's going to put down the Heat Factory. He's going to Quick Ball again and I assume grab a Dedenne. And yep, there's the Dedenne. And our opponent's just going to put down the Dedenne and draw some cards into the hand. Discards a Fire Energy, now has a really fat hand. And I assume they're going to be able to get some sort of knock on our Jirachi, either going for the Blazer or not, but you know, it really could go any way right now for our opponent. He has a lot of cards in hand. I'm curious to see what he grabs. He puts down another Jirachi. He only has 1 Fire Energy in the discard pile, but he's going to switch back into that Jirachi, and we're going to see what our opponent does, and grabs the Fiery Flint. So that's definitely going to be able to get a knockout on our Jirachi easily. So they're going to Fiery Flint here. And put 4 energy into their hand. And attach the energy and get the easy knock on our Jirachi, which isn't too bad. But we're able to Marnie our opponent next turn, which is nice. So I'm again curious to see what kind of our plan is here. So he does the 1 discard and grabs an energy, and I think we're gonna promote our 1 Vulpix here. And yes, so this is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna attach an energy there. We're going to evolve our Growlithe, and then now we're going to Marnie away our hand. So we do end up getting another Fire Energy, which is nice, and I'm actually going to Heat Factory away that Fire Energy. And now we can put down the Jirachi and kind of Confuse Ray our opponent, and hopefully we're able to get that Hex off for the knock next turn. But we are going to see what happens. I assume they have a switch of some sort and they're able to retreat back from that, but they're actually just going to retreat and going to Welder up again. But actually no, they're going to have to do something here. So I'm kind of interested on what they do, because they're going to have to get a switch card and a Welder. So I'll be very surprised if our opponent gets that off of what we just Marnied. But it is what it is. We only have 1 fire in the discard, and they're going to attach the fire per turn, and they're going to Pal Pad both Welders back into the deck and pass with that. So we do get the Burning Scarf, which is really nice, and I'm going to put the Burning Scarf on my Arcanine right there. What we're going to do now is retreat into the Jirachi and Stellar Wish here, and we're going to grab ourselves the Quick Ball. And what we're going to do with the Quick Ball here is we're going to Quick Ball away a Pokemon Communication. We're going to grab ourselves a Growlithe. We're going to grab the Growlithe. We're going to Scoop Up Net the Jirachi. Put a Vulpix into the active again. Put down the Jirachi. Scoop Up Net the Vulpix. And put the Jirachi down. And hopefully we get something like a... No, we actually don't get what we want here. We're gonna grab the switch, actually. We're gonna switch into our Arcanine, and then we're going to put down the Vulpix and Marnie our hand away. We're not getting any fire attachments, which is unfortunate. I am going to put another Burning Scarf right there, but now we're going to bench our last Jirachi and pass with that. So our opponent isn't looking too happy right now. We're going to Stellar Wish here. And this is a very interesting matchup because, you know, you don't see this type of matchup every day, but they do grab the Fire Crystal. So I assume they're going to discard that and get back all 3 fire energies. They already have 7 in the discard pile. And they're going to have to do 250 damage here to knock out the Arcanine. But with that, I'm going to knock them out next turn with Ninetales. So this kind of just shows how powerful this deck can be. And really on the counterattack. So they're gonna knock out the Arcanine, discard some fire energies, and now we're gonna promote our Ninetales for the knock. And luckily they are still burned. And now we're gonna attach a fire. Actually, no, we're not gonna attach a fire energy. We're gonna evolve our Growlithe. We're going to Heat Factory away the fire energy, and that is what we like to see. We're going to Welder onto our Arcanine here, the 2 fire energy right there, and now we're going to put down a Vulpix, or a Ninetales onto our Vulpix. We're going to Ordinary Rod here and do both. We're going to grab ourselves the Growlithe and the Arcanine, and then 2 fire energy. And then we're just going to Hex for the knock. So now we're rolling here, and we're doing what we need to be doing. We do get another Burning Scarf, which is really nice. But our opponent's definitely able to get an easy knock onto our Ninetales. They need 150 damage. And they end up Heat Factoring again, really trying to draw into what they need. I'm curious to see if they have the Oricorio somewhere in their playability, but they're going to just Stellar Wish here. And we're going to have a very, not common, I don't want to say, but easy to answer question of the day compared to something Pokemon Trading Card Game related. Our question of the day is going to be, what is your favorite fire Pokemon? As we are playing against a Welder deck as well, while we are playing a Welder deck. So they're going to retreat, and they're going to put up the Blacephalon. Now they're going to Oricorio and grab some energy or some cards from their hand. And they're going to take the knock on our Ninetales, no doubt. They're going to Fire Crystal away and grab some fire energy. And attach the fire energy there, and they just need to discard 3 fire energy to get the knock here. So I won't be surprised. They're actually going to Fire Flint before anything. So they're going to discard some cards and grab the rest of their fire energy in their deck, which is just 1. So I'm actually curious to see what really happens here. But they're just going to Fireball Circus. Deal that 150 damage. And now we will promote a Jirachi and see what we can do here. Because I do need another fire energy, which we do end up getting off the top deck, which is kind of silly here because I know I wasn't expecting to get that. But we're just going to Palpad here. And we're going to Palpad and get back a Marnie and a Welder. And then we're going to attach the Burning Scarf onto our... We're actually going to save that Burning Scarf, and we're just going to pass for the turn. I really don't mind getting away, basically, a knock on the Jirachi. because I think what we're going to do is we're pretty much energy stalling our opponent right now. And, you know, it is what it is. That's how we can win a game. That's gonna be how we win the game. And they're gonna Cherish Ball here, so I'm curious to see what they grab with the Cherish Ball. And I think what they're gonna grab is the Heatran GX, if I'm not mistaken. But they probably prized it, unless they just didn't want to grab it. And our opponent really here is just thinking, do I Blazer or do I Fire Ball Circus? Because a Blazer could get a knock on a Jirachi, but at the end of the day, if they don't grab that Fire Energy, but they end up doing it, so they are going to knock it. And I'm curious to see if they grab the Fire Energy, which they, I think, did. So now we're going to put up a Arcanine. We're going to Heat Factory away that Fire Energy, put down a Ditto, put the Burning Scarf on our Ditto, and then we're going to Quick Ball away the Heat Factory and grab ourselves a Heatran GX. And we're going to Pokemon Communication away that Heatran GX and grab ourselves another Arcanine. And now we are going to attach the Fire Energy to the Ditto, and now we're going to Fire Main for the knock. So now our opponent needs a lot to be able to get themselves a knock onto the Arcanine. They need 5 Fire Energies, but 3 attachment. So they're gonna Energy Retrieval here. Grab 2 Fire Energy. I assume they play more Energy Retrieval too, but they're gonna Stellar Wish here now. And they're gonna grab themselves the Energy Retrieval. They're gonna switch into the Cramorant. Get a Welder onto the Cramorant. And it's looking like they're getting the way to be able to... Oh, they actually tried to knock out the Arcanine here, which is very misplay on that part. I'm going to do a little well played there. And that is just unfortunate from them, because I don't think they really realized the warming up ability. So now we're going to Boss's Order up there, Blacephalon, evolve our Arcanine, and then Fire Main here. Because now they need to get a lot here, and we do get a Fire Energy, which is nice. So I'm curious to see what they do. I think they were expecting to just get the knock on the Arcanine, which is not the case. But they ended up doing the 240 before, so I'm curious to see why they didn't. They must have prized the, they must have, I swear you could have looked at your opponent's prizes before, but they must have prized the Blacephalon GX, which is unfortunate for them. And I'm not going to Marnie here because I don't want to kind of give my opponent the chance to be able to get their things back in the deck. And our opponent quits with that, and we end up beating a Blacephalon match with the Arcanine, which is nice. And they were going to deck out before we could knock them out, so we get the win and on to the next match. On to our second match here, and we're actually up against what looks like either a Nuzzle deck or a Pikarom deck. We're going to have to find out, but they're not playing any Psychic Pokemon in their deck, so they can't discard our stadiums if they are playing Pikarom. So I'm very interested to see what they are playing. It looks like a Jirachi build with Pikarom, if I had to guess based on the types. But they're going to be calling the coin flip, and we end up losing the coin flip. And they're going to choose to go first, which does hurt for us, especially with the mulligan like that. And now we just have to kind of wait and see what our opponent promotes and what we draw into. But, you know, we do play a good amount of basics in this deck, so I don't know why we're mulliganing like this, but we end up mulliganing 3 times. So that is just unfortunate. We're going to put down the Growlithe and see if we can really do much after this. So we're going to draw 3 cards. And yeah, we're just gonna have to see what happens. I mean, we can get a knock on the Jirachi, which would be interesting, but, you know, putting 3 energy on that Growlithe and then having it get knocked is gonna hurt. But they're really just gonna try to get a big knockout here. So I really don't know what I will do, whether it be the Marnie or the Welder. But they're gonna draw into that. They're gonna get that Zapdos up. They're gonna Stellar Wish here. And they grab the Vitality Band, so I assume they're going to put that onto the Zapdos. And I'm curious to see if they pass here or do some more. They definitely have the ability to do more, but they're just going to pass. So they have a fat hand. I think what I'm going to do here is Welder. I'm going to Welder 2 energy onto the Growlithe. And we do get ourselves... So... we have the ability to get knocked really easy here, but, you know, that was the risk of playing the Welder, so we're just going to Fire Claws for the knock. And hope our opponent doesn't have the out to be able to switch, but I assume they do. So they're probably just going to put up the Jirachi, promote the Zapdos, and win, if I had to assume. And honestly, this game would just kind of prove to show that, you know, rogue decks can be this bad, getting so easily knocked. So that's a kudos to our opponent. They get the win. On to our third match to see if we can get 2 wins in this video. On to our last match, and it's looking like we're going up against another fire deck. I did end up trying to go into our third match and then having our opponent rage quit with a bad hand in the beginning, so we're just going to go for Tails, but this time Tails fails, so it's unfortunate. And our opponent is going to see the flip and see what they want to do, if they go first or second. So our opponent decides to go second with a long wait there, and now we're going to have to see what happens because we do end up getting mulliganed, and now we get a better hand here. We don't have any fire energy in hand, which is unfortunate because, you know, they're going first. And did I say second? I meant to say they're going first. Well, hopefully we can get a Giant Hearth up, or they put the Giant Hearth down for us. But they're just going to Quick Ball here, get rid of their switch, so they must have another switch in hand, I assume. And let's see what our opponent's playing. It could be another Blacephalon deck, but they're actually going to grab the Heatran. They're going to play down the Heatran and put a Fire Energy on, and then they're going to put the Skateboard and promote the Heatran. So very interesting start. We're going to put down both our Growlithes, and we're going to Burning Scarf away here, and I think what we're going to do here is try to find a Giant Hearth, which we end up doing. Going to Giant Hearth away a Marnie, and grab 2 Fire Energy, and Welder onto the Growlithe with the Burning Scarf. Boop boop, ba-doop ba-doop. And we do end up getting the Arcanine there, which is really nice. And now we're going to scoop up net the Jirachi, promote the Growlithe, and then put back the Jirachi down, switch into it again, and Stellar Wish to see what we can grab. We do end up getting the Boss's Order, but I think what we're gonna grab the Boss's Order to kind of scare them a little bit. And with that, we're going to pass our turn. So our opponent needs a Welder, which would be very plausible. I can see it happening in front of my eyes as we speak. And now they're going to Steaming Stomp for the knock 100%, but they actually have the Vitini there, which is interesting. And they're going to just Steaming Stomp. But now our opponent needs 5 energy to take the knock on our Growlithe. But we're just going to attach the energy to our Arcanine now. We're going to Marnie here. And now this is interesting. So we can evolve our Arcanine here. We're going to put down the Ditto. We're going to Giant Hearth away a Fire Energy and grab 2 Fire Energies. And we're going to Fire Main here. And now they need 2 energy, which is very easy to grab if they have another Welder. But if they do that, then that is going to be the knock on them. And, you know, I don't know. I really don't want them to have the Welder, but that's a lot to ask from a Welder deck because they have many outs to Welder. But they're going to attach the Fire Energy there, and they're going to Marnie, so they actually don't end up getting the Welder, which is nice. And I don't mind the Marnie there because we end up getting an Ordinary Rod, which is nice. And they're just going to Steaming Stomp, and they actually don't get the knock here. And I think people just don't expect what from a Pokemon that they don't see often, and end up getting that, like, what? Why didn't the Pokemon get knocked out? And now they're gonna have to suffer the consequences. We're going to Quick Ball away the Switch. We're gonna grab ourselves a Jirachi, and then we're gonna put the Jirachi on the field. We're going to save the Ordinary Rod for next turn, and we're going to Fire Main for the knock here. So we're going to grab ourselves some prizes, grab the Quick Ball, and grab a Ninetales, which is really nice. And what we can do is, if they decide to go and attack us, we can switch up the Ditto and attach 1 Fire Energy and knock it. So I'm looking forward to that. But they actually have the Zacian down now, so I'm curious to see if they Intrepid Sword, which would be interesting. They're playing against a very interesting type of deck. I mean, I assume they have some sort of attacker other than Heatran and Victini. I think this is just a general Welder box. They're going to switch into the Jirachi, and they're going to Stellar Wish. And they do grab the Welder here. So they're gonna do another attachment onto the Victini, and I assume they're going for the big knock on our Arcanine right now. And yep, that's what they're deciding to do. I don't see them doing anything other than that. But now our Victini is going to get burned and take the prizes, and we're going to actually promote the Jirachi here. And hopefully they did say burned, which is kind of a misplay on my part now that I think about it, but hopefully we can get something like a switch or a scoop up net. We're going to Stellar Wish before we Ordinary Rod, and we actually do get the scoop up net, which is nice. So yeah, I didn't really know what was going to happen there. I would have kind of rathered a Welder, but we're going to scoop up net the Jirachi, promote the Ninetales, put the Jirachi down, Ordinary Rod and do both, grab ourselves the Arcanine and the Growlithe, and then put 2 Fire Energy back into our deck. And now we're just going to Hex here, do 120 damage, do 20 damage to them, and now they are not burned anymore, but they will be able to be easily knocked out. And now they're going to have to attach another Fire Energy onto Victini if they want to do anything special here. So they're going to end up doing that. They're definitely going to get the knock on our Ninetales. And then they draw a prize there, and we're going to promote our Jirachi. So it's looking a little shaky for me, but we actually end up getting the whatchamacallit, the Welder. So we're going to Welder onto Arcanine here. Bam, bam. Boom, boom. We do get a Growlithe, which is nice. We're going to Stellar Wish here, and we're going to grab the We're going to grab ourselves a Boss's Order. we're going to attach the fire energy onto Growlithe and pass for the turn. So now our opponent can easily energy burst us, but I'm kind of waiting to see what he does, and we can definitely still win this match, but you know, it's definitely getting a little riskier as we speak, and they're just going to energy burst. So now we're going to promote our Arcanine here, and I don't really see them being able to get anything really to knock us out, so we're just going to Grand Flame here and put the fire energy onto our Growlithe. And now we get some prize cards. Let's see if we get anything nice. We ended up getting a Jirachi, which is nice. We could Pokemon Communication that into another Arcanine. And it's looking like we get the KO here unless they Marnie us, or the win, because we can easily just Boss's Order up that Zacian for the knock. I think this deck is really cool, but actually no, they end up getting the Mewtwo Mew, so they're going to Welder onto the Mewtwo Mew. And now I'm very interested to see if they're trying to get the knock on Arcanine, and if they do, they do, or if they do something else. I'm very curious to see what they do actually, but having that Zacian on the bench is not going to be good for them. So they do grab the Heatran and put it back into the deck to grab, I assume, something like a Reshazard or a Braixen Charizard or the Blacephalon GX. So now they're Gym at B trying to knock out us and put up the... so they do reset stamp us, so that is unfortunate. So that was very well played on their part. That's just unfortunate. Very unfortunate. They're grabbing the Brock's Grit. And now they're going to get the knock with the GX attack. Well, actually, if they GX attack... this is interesting. I'm curious to see what they do here. Because if they Hot Burn GX, now they can't grab what they wanted to grab. So now we're just gonna put the Vulpix up here. We're gonna Quick Ball away and grab the Jirachi. I'll put down the Jirachi. I'm gonna switch here. They said well played, but the game is not over yet. Until it's over. Until it is over now. So I'm gonna give it a little well played. It is unfortunate we didn't get what we want. But we're just gonna pass the turn there. And lucky to our opponent, they did end up getting the sneaky win at the end. So that's gonna be the end of the video there. I think this deck is really cool, but has some issues. So definitely take this deck list and edit it to your capabilities. And you know, with that, I'd love to see those deck lists as well. So follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you have any other tweaks to this deck listing and how to make it better. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support lately on the channel, and I hope to grow just so we can have fun on this channel. That's really what this channel is all about. Stay tuned to some Darkness Ablaze box openings when that releases, and also make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, answer the question of the day, subscribe for more Pokemon content. Stay safe, and peace out, my nouns.